Komets Corner is presented by Lee's Famous Recipe.
Obviously, I haven't been here that long, but especially the last two games against Indy, I felt like we played good games and just didn't come out with the result. So just to see that kind of result and get scoring from the whole group, good goaltending. I mean, everyone kind of chipped in. It felt really good. I think a lot of teams could just kind of pack it in and say you're already in the playoffs. But I think we're still a very hungry group, and I think going into playoffs, that's when the intensity has to be the highest, and we all know that. So yeah, just trying to bring it every game and kind of play it like a playoff game.
Well, James brings it every game. Shane Albahrani brings it every game.
Not really, but okay.
Well, you had to bring it 4 times last week, so if one of them was a little off, there's no big problem.
Yeah.
Shane, of course, joining us for Komets Corner this week, and man, how did we get to here? There's only 3 games left in the season.
Yeah, it's a grind. Another 4 games last week, 3 games in 3 nights. So, I'm a little gassed here, but just like the players are also trying to find their playoff legs, and so am I. So, we got 3 games left in the regular season, and then the fun starts.
So talk about the magic number, because that's what people want to know. Komets looking like they're going to be the number 2 seed in the Central Division. What's the magic number for clinching that postseason home series in the first round?
Oh, it's now down to 1. So with the Komets winning yesterday and Iowa losing to Norfolk, it cut the lead down to 1. So all we need is 1 point in the final 3 games, or if Iowa loses one of their last 4 remaining games, the Komets get home ice. So simple as that.
There you go. And talk about last week, because we'll get into Sunday's game, because there's a lot to talk about on Sunday. And we'll gloss over some of the other games. That's what we do here. But when you take a look at the confidence that this team must have going into the final week, James was kind of talking about they kind of have the right attitude going forward. What did you see on Sunday that makes you think, all right, this team is ready to peak at this right time? Because obviously, a 7-zip win over Cincinnati makes you feel a whole lot better about the way the week was.
Yeah, you close out the week. It was a disappointing week. They played hard, but only come up with 1 point there against Indy on Saturday, a game that really we should have won. But no, you come out, you fire, and you get 7 goals. You shut them out, so it's a nice feeling. But you know what? Right where we were last week when we talked. Still uncertainty in the lineup. With Bakersfield, they are not quite eliminated, but they lost last night to Tucson, so they are now just hanging on. So we'll see what the decision comes down from Bakersfield this week or the week after to see who we're going to get back. But again, this roster is still in flux because you don't know what you're going to have right now from really day to day.
When you talk about the relationship with Bakersfield, the relationship with Edmonton, obviously on Sunday, big news for Komets fans that the affiliation between these organizations is going to be extended for 3 more years. When you take a look at that as a whole, tangibly, what does that mean for Fort Wayne? It's cool, but what does that mean when it comes down to the brass tacks of it all?
Yeah, the 3-tier system, everyone's familiar with that in baseball. Hockey is now slowly leaning that way, and the ECHL obviously is going to be a big part of that. And, there's some teams that really truly believe in it. Some teams have not quite caught on. I look at what the Capitals are doing. South Carolina's a good team. Hershey is a great team in the AHL. They won 2 championships, and Edmonton is now trying really to kind of get their teeth into the 3-tier system. So you're going to see just more influx of talent into Fort Wayne, and it's give and take too, because the Komets, Brett Brochu was not on Edmonton's radar at all, but we brought him to Fort Wayne. He shined. We recommended him, and now he's up in the AHL. Hopefully he'll return, but they signed him to a contract at the end of last year just based on 12 games, but he was a Komet guy. Ethan Keppen is another guy, and there's been other players there that were Komet guys who got Bakersfield invites, and they never came to Fort Wayne. So Edmonton's quite happy with what Fort Wayne has actually given them as opposed to what Edmonton and Bakersfield has given to Fort Wayne.
So it's good for Komets fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you take a look at Sunday, how nice is it to kind of have that affiliation in the back pocket? Because a lot of these negotiations, I feel like, happen in the offseason. So when I saw your press announcement that this was going to be talked about on Sunday, I was like, oh, they must really like it because they didn't let it go past the point of the end of the season.
Yeah, you didn't wait for the agreement to actually expire.
Yeah.
You had this all in place before the season ended, and it's a very good look, I think, for everybody that this relationship is growing. It's already 3 years, and now we've signed up for another 3 years, so it's fantastic. Again, it's paying off for all three clubs, really, Edmonton, Bakersfield, and the Komets. So really looking forward to what the future is going to bring.
Bill Scott, Oilers assistant GM, was in town to talk about the affiliation. Here's what he had to say on Sunday at the Coliseum.
Really better than we ever could have expected when we entered into it. When you get a new partner, you always have high expectations, but you're never quite sure how things are going to operate on a day-to-day basis. And one of the biggest things in that is communication. We've had unbelievable communication between David, myself, Keith Gretzky in Bakersfield, and Jesse as the coach. And that's really one of the things that you have to have in order for an affiliation to work. They need to know what players we're going to need from them on a daily basis, in-season injuries, things like that. We need to be informed how our players are playing down here that are under contract. And then even in the off-season, we work together to recruit players, put on AHL contracts. Some players that are signed to ECHL contracts end up coming to our rookie camp and training camp in Bakersfield. So it's really year-round communication, and it's been excellent between the organizations. Yeah, that's probably the most difficult thing in our job. Really, is there's a big trickle-down effect between all three organizations. As Edmonton's had a bunch of injuries lately, there's players recalled up to Edmonton from Bakersfield. Bakersfield not only loses those recalls, but they've had their own injury issues. And then in turn, Fort Wayne has injury issues and recalls from Bakersfield. So that's the hardest thing, I think, for an affiliate, for an ECHL level team in these relationships, is just losing players through the season. But again, I think it goes back to communication and trying to over-prepare a little bit in these circumstances, letting them know when we think players are going to be back, helping provide a little recruiting assistance in season. At this time of year, players are coming out of college, coming out of major junior. If we can help them out there and trying to find some players that might help fill a void at this time of year for them, that's great as well. So certainly having that three-tiered system can be difficult at times with injuries, but that's just part of hockey, and that's the way it is. And ultimately, it's great for these players to get a chance at a higher level too.
You can tell, pretty happy with everything that's going on. And now that the affiliation deal is signed, sealed, and delivered, you go out Sunday and play one of the most dominant games on paper of the season that the Komets have had.
Yeah, it's funny how well you play when the big bosses are in town, right?
There it is. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, Nathan Day started the game, and that shows you the relationship we have with Edmonton. He was a draft pick of Edmonton back in 2023, signed his NHL contract before the game, and here he was on Coliseum Ice starting yesterday and got the shutout. He was only the 8th goalie in Komet history to pitch a shutout in his Komet debut, so he actually made a little bit of history. And it was great. He's a guy who Edmonton obviously is high on, and they think highly enough of Fort Wayne to have him hop in his car from Flint, drive down, and hop right into the game, and look what he did. He shuts out the Cyclones.
That's a pretty good debut, wouldn't you say, as a pro?
Yeah. Not bad at all.
Yeah. So going into this Cincinnati game, obviously, coming off an overtime loss against Indy, you did pick up a point there, but I mean, you wanted to end the weekend on a high, and you certainly did. 3 goals in the first period, and then 2 goals in both the second and third period. Like, this was a dominant effort. I know Cincinnati is not where they'd like to be at this point in the season, but pretty much everything was clicking for the Komets.
Yeah, no, it was nice. You got 6 different goal scorers, some really pretty passing, good timing passes, something that has really been off, obviously, with the lineup changes and all. But you had good goaltending. I thought everyone played well as a unit. Josh Grohl is another rookie we brought in to start the weekend. He scored 2 goals in 3 games, and he's been fantastic. And he's, again, one of those guys who probably wasn't on Edmonton's radar, but the Komets find him, and he was already been producing. And again, with Edmonton brass there in the building, it's always a good look.
Yeah, and when you take a look at what we were talking about last week, just how much the roster has been shifted over the last few weeks, how nice was it to see this team really connect on the ice on Sunday?
Oh, it was fantastic. It's just been kind of in a different, just a state of flux every night, because you're also, again, you're not only juggling the call-ups, but you're juggling your own injuries. and trying to get guys ready for the playoffs. Take a guy like Nick Deacon-Poot, who sat out a couple of games last weekend. I think it was probably just a matter of this guy has given up his body all season. We have enough bodies. Let's go ahead and give him a little break. Kirill Tatayev took a hit in the Kalamazoo game on Tuesday night. He was probably fine, but again, why rush it when you've got all the bodies right now? So you're juggling that. It's like, okay, yes, we still want to win. We're still playing for something, but we also know we have got a second season to prepare for. So trying to get these guys back and ready for the playoffs. And remember, Odin Tufto is set to come back. Hopefully he's going to be back next weekend to start getting his legs back for the playoffs.
Over this next week, what do you want to see from the Komets to say this team is ready for the postseason? That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, but again, it just comes back to what you're going to get from Bakersfield. It's just it's a guessing game right now. But again, we get a little bit of clarity with Bakersfield losing last night, actually losing both games. So we're not sure. The Brett Brochu situation, that has more to do with Edmonton than Bakersfield, with Stuart Skinner out for the Edmonton. As soon as he is cleared to play, I would expect Brett Brochu to come back to Fort Wayne.
Trickle down effect.
Yeah, exactly. And then with Nathan Day, not sure what his plans are here for the rest of the season. He could stay here in Fort Wayne, or maybe Bakersfield calls him up and gives him a couple of looks up there in their final few regular season games. So we don't know. I mean, it's a weird situation. You're going to play your last game on Sunday, and you don't have days. You have hours to turn around that playoff roster. So you have to know. Really,
it's that
fast because some series will start on Wednesday. So those playoff rosters have got to be in. So I don't envy the coaches. And then, you've got guys who perform very well, like a Josh Grohl or a Max Patterson. You're not going to be able to keep everybody. So if everyone comes back, someone may have to go. So it's going to be a stressful week for the upper management.
Yes, Jesse Kalicki making lots of decisions. Corey Melkert, Olivier Legault, all these decisions. I imagine the war room is being used and utilized to its fullest this week. When we talk about Nathan Day, I mean, it's just a cool story. You've already talked a lot about, him being signed, driving down from Flint, and going out and pitching a shutout. Here's what Nathan Day had to say after Sunday's big win for the Komets.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, our season ended Friday, and then I pretty much found out right after that, and then I was told that I was going to be traveling down Saturday and then starting Sunday. So I mean, it's a lot of excitement. I know my family was so excited. I was super excited too, and we're just very grateful for the opportunity. And the drive down was nice and easy. It wasn't too far, so I just got in and then just treated it like another game, prepared the same way, and it was very exciting. Yeah, the team was unbelievable in front of me tonight. I mean, they were very welcoming when I got here. All the guys were super great people, so they made it really easy tonight for me, and I was very grateful for that, and very happy to be a part of this team right now and be with these guys and be able to share this moment with them. Yeah, I mean, the organization's unbelievable. I mean, everyone's been so good to me, and I'm thankful for all of them, and I owe all of them thanks for everything they've done for me the last 2 years. So I mean, a ton of credit goes to them. And approaching the night, I just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity and just kind of live in the moment and enjoy it. Because I mean, to get this chance is pretty unbelievable and once in a lifetime. So just wanted to go out there and have fun and enjoy it.
20 years old.
My shoes I'm wearing, I think, are older than that right now. So,
I was going to say my entire closet is pretty much older than that guy. But man, an awesome debut, an awesome story, and hopefully, we get to see more type of success from him going forward. But when you take a look at the ECHL standings now, as you mentioned at the top of the show, magic number is 1. So if that Komets can pick up a point, it would be nice and just, knock that out on Friday against the Toledo Walleye. But when you take a look at the standings, again, as we've said all season long, the battle for that 4th spot in the Central Division, it's going to come down to the final weekend.
Well, I've been saying that the Komets are going to decide who gets that 4th spot, and you're welcome, Indy, because with the Komets losing both of those games this weekend, really, it puts them in the driver's seat. It's really theirs to lose now. I think their magic number is 3, and they've got 4 games left, a game in hand on Kalamazoo and Bloomington and Cincinnati. With that loss last night to the Komets, pretty much takes them off the board. So It will come down to the final weekend, but Indy, they've got the inside track.
Yeah, and we'll know at some point whether those games against Bloomington
Right.
really matter for the Bison or not by the time Saturday and Sunday roll around. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule this week. Road game, final road game of the season. Of course, it's at Toledo on Friday night as they look to fry the fish. And then on Saturday, Bloomington is at home. And then Sunday, wrapping up the regular season with the Bison at the Coliseum. Man, does it feel like it's been 72 games?
Yeah, it feels like we're on game 134 to me. That's what it feels like.
Well, I mean, a couple games in the preseason and everything like that. But no, I mean, it feels like when you look at a schedule on paper, it looks like it lasts forever. And yet here we are, and the postseason is almost here.
Yeah, it goes really fast. You know, I've been doing this for a couple decades, a lot longer than Nathan Day has been on this planet.
True.
No, every year it seems to get faster. It seems to get quicker. And, you know, it seemed like just yesterday we dropped the puck in October, and now here we are looking at the playoffs. And it's great. You know, there's nothing better than playoff hockey. There is nothing better than that. So, you know, the fact we took a year off from the playoffs, now we're just that much more hungry. And I know the fans appreciate this team. And remember, Sunday is we give away the team awards, which is always a fun night. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the media voted.
Did you throw out my ballot?
I did not. I did not. I turned it in.
What is this guy thinking? No, but that should be interesting as well, especially, you know, the team MVP race will be interesting. What are you most looking forward to, though, as we wrap things up about this final week of the regular season? Like, what for you are you really looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to our guys coming back from Bakersfield.
Yeah.
You know, they're a difference maker. You know, I know this group we have now is really working hard, but again, it's a little discombobulated. We got rookies coming in, but those guys who are up in Bakersfield, they have been here all year. You know, Kyle Mayhew has been arguably the best defenseman in the league, and Darren Brady has been a solid stay-at-home defenseman. Then you got Ethan Keppen, who's a point a game, and of course Brett Brochu has got it's unfinished business for Brett Brochu. He's a kid who's been overlooked, you know, for the past few years, and he's got that chip on his shoulder. And I know they want to come back and they want to finish what they started. So really looking forward. Hopefully we get those guys back, and just looking forward to seeing what the playoff roster looks like come next Monday when we're ready to go.
It will not be the same as it is right now.
won't.
That is one thing we will guarantee on this show. He's Shane Albahrani. I'm Glenn Marini, and we'll see you next Monday talking playoff hockey with the Komets here on Komets Corner.
Komets Corner is presented by Lee's Famous Recipe.